Good evening. Good evening, all. I just wish you'll unmute yourself for a second and say good evening. Good evening. Okay, guys. First and foremost, yes, this is going to be little what I call as something where I expect you guys to say something, a little bit of something at least, so that we can have a bit of life in our session. Okay. So now the thing is that let us have a look at what I call as the syllabus what we are going through, so that we get an idea of what is going to be done, right? So let me go to the presentation which I have. Okay, it's right here. So you should be seeing something which you saw in the morning also. Now guys, again, I'm not asking you to look at the what I call as the percentages. What matters to you now is that you are going to have some quizzes. I'm going to call it as two quizzes: classroom quiz and a comprehension quiz. And you're going to definitely do a LinkedIn project. And by the looks of it, I feel that there might be a oral exam which might be expected to be conducted. So I've just added it as the fourth component, because today I discovered that there is a pragmatic shift from the typical what you call as uh, the first original assessment criteria has been changed in the VTOP portal. Instead of having what you call as the FAT and term and exam, they got midterm exam, they got only 5 assessments. And fortunately or unfortunately, all of you are final year students, so you don't have to face FAT. Okay. So I since the classroom seems to have kind of settled, I just have to go ahead with the assumption that there is no FAT. Okay. Now let us probably, like what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through our syllabus. Okay, syllabus, and then show you what are the things which are likely to do. And I don't know if you've already gone through the syllabus, but I'll take a guess that you have not gone through the syllabus and probably will go through the same, right? Now it's Acrobat. Okay, I don't think I need Acrobat. Right. Now this is the OneNote software. This is a OneNote window which I'm sharing with you guys. So if you see, there are 7 course objectives, okay, which we are going to study, and we are also going to. So first and foremost, we are going to try see the types of natural disasters. Okay. Now, if you keep your mic unmuted, all of you, only 4 of you are there. In fact, only 3 of you have joined in the session. So I request all of you to unmute yourself, and also if you are going to show your what you call as faces, no, it makes it a little interactive. Just put yourself in my shoes where I get to see only the camera. There's no light. So if you give me a little bit of life, I can also feel a little energized. Okay, guys, see, I am also human. I need to, and I'm doing what I do. I love to be with people, and it's very difficult for me to. I'm not as inspired as I feel I can be when I look at a blank screen. So, may I please request all of you to unmute yourself and open your camera if you don't mind. Yeah, it also means that all of you have to be looking decent. So maybe if you are feeling that okay, I'm not looking as decent I should be, don't open your camera. But I'd really appreciate this one, your voice. Thank you, Aditya. Yeah. Okay, guys. What are the types of natural disasters that you feel are there? Of course, today we are going to definitely talk about the COVID. In other words, you don't call it as COVID, it's actually a pandemic. Okay, so we have a pandemic raging out there. So this is one of the natural disasters. Now, what can you tell me some more of the natural disasters?
So landslide.
Very, okay, landslide. Then we have earthquake. Very good.
Earthquake.
Then
Floods.
okay, I need to go. You need to go a little slow because there seems to be a little bit of lag between my pen and my pen tablet and my screen. So floods, great. Then anything else comes to your mind? Cyclone. Okay. Did I hear famine?
Tsunami, says tsunami.
Very good. Cyclone, famine, tsunami. Then
lightning.
very good. Lightning is actually causing a few deaths. So you will actually find that in your disaster management handbooks, which are government issues, lightning is also one of them. Excellent. Then anything else, guys? Okay. See, along with famine, you will also get drought. Okay. Actually, it's not famine, stroke drought. Okay. Drought is a condition where you don't have water. Famine is a condition where you don't have food. Again, the opposite is floods, where you have more water than what you really want. Okay. And then the cyclone, tsunami, and probably another very important thing is maybe some of you are going to the states and some other countries where you'll have tornadoes. Okay, where the wind is creating vortices which causes a disaster in its wake. So, and moving forward, uh, you also have another one. You would have, if you are following the news, you would have heard of this particular attack. Okay, locusts. Okay, locusts are sometimes even insects. When there are too many insects of a kind, okay, you are still going to have uh, trouble. Okay, and we don't have this very often in India. Volcano attacks, these are all also what we call as natural disasters, and you can also have what are called as avalanche. So you would have heard of your, most of you have done at least one paper in electronics, I guess. So you would have heard of the avalanche effect, where there is like a breakdown of the diode. Typically, in that you would have spoken about, you would have been speaking about, where the electrons just start to flow very freely. But as far as a civil engineer I am concerned, it's something like where something starts very slow and then you totally uh, you find that maybe it's land or ice or whatever that's getting um, that just flows very rapidly. So these are some of the things which we call as natural disasters. Many of them are predictable. Okay, many of them are predictable. So, for example, we can predict occurrence of certain things. Maybe you would like to help me out here. Of all of this, which can we just say which of the things are items which are predictable? We got something in the okay, Ritvik, not a problem, Ritvik. But next time, I'll appreciate you. Suppose you are having your mic open. Yes, great. Yes, guys. Now, can you tell me which of
Sir,
the
cyclone is predictable.
yes, you're right. Cyclones can be predicted. Okay. Then, to be honest, famine and drought can be largely predicted because this is depending on the wave pattern. Then,
Sir, tsunami also.
you're right. Do you have an idea as to how tsunamis are predicted? It will make my life a little easier.
Sir, by weather forecasting, maybe.
Sorry, weather
Sir,
forecast.
weather forecasting.
No. Actually, tsunamis. The occurrence of
Sir, by
tsunami
tides.
tides. Okay.
Tide,
Okay.
yes,
Okay, basically tsunamis are an outcome of geological activities. Okay, in the sense that it's many times an outcome of earthquakes. Now again, I'm using the word many times because sometimes land mass when it slips and falls into the water, it also can cause tsunami. We will come back to that a little later on. Okay, so I think I still have something which I can talk about in class. Okay, now earthquakes, you can feel, you can say that certain areas are prone for an earthquake. Okay, but you cannot accurately measure. Okay, now same thing with volcanoes. You can by and large say that there is likelihood of volcanic activities, and it's again probabilistic, but I guess in a volcano you have more indications, so I can probably put it as a double tick mark just to say that it is not something which you accurately are able to say. Same thing with lightnings, occurrence of tornadoes. Okay, and locusts again, I don't know whether you can really very accurately predict, but floods very likely, very easy to do, and earthquake you can predict with great what you call as you can predict with some kind of probabilistic measures. Probabilistic, it's highly probabilistic. Landslides, you can predict to a large extent that it can occur, because landslides is something which it largely occurs with significant amount of symptoms. Like you can make out that a landslide is likely to occur in a place. Now this pandemic honestly caught me, even it blindsided me. I would never have thought at one point of time that we are going to get affected by the uh, by something like this pandemic. Now, in my personal view is these disasters are not harmful to humans in the way the earth was originally designed. Okay, let us assume you are in the Amazon rainforest and there is an earthquake. You are in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. What is that you are going to experience? Can you just tell me what is it that you are likely to experience? Any guess? Ayush?
So, Amazon River might shiver, floods may come,
Floods may come. Okay. What about?
trees may fall,
Sorry?
so trees may fall,
Trees may fall. Okay. Right. Ayush, you have any point on what you are going to experience in the Amazon rainforest?
Uh, sir, maybe lightning.
No, this is about earthquake. Specifically, there is the occurrence of an earthquake. You are in the middle of the jungle. Okay. What is going to happen? Okay, guys. Uh,
Sir,
yes, please.
hello.
Yes, yes. Please tell us, Ayush.
Sir, trees may let all the animals let out of their habitat. That
Okay.
might be.
Okay. Yeah. See, the thing is that there can be some activity among the animals. The basically you will feel the ground vibrate, and probably you'll feel the trees shake. Maybe before I proceed on, how many of you have experienced an earthquake? The number of who of you in this group have experienced an earthquake?
that I have experienced.
Very good. So what all happened?
Sir, it wasn't that like the amount of it wasn't that like disastrous.
Yeah.
Very
See,
light.
yes, that's right.
The little shakes we have experienced.
Exactly wasn't that deep.
Okay. So
Then there are
now please tell me, Aditya.
vibrations.
You're right. You feel
Then
some
there are lot
vibrations.
of vibrations.
Excellent.
Yeah, this
Okay, then that's it. That's the most.
that's it.
That's the
Yeah.
most you would have felt if it had not. If it had been a minor quake. See, earthquakes can be caused by so many things. Maybe if suppose you are having a large quantity of energy released, like testing of some explosives or anything. Even that can cause minor tremors. So here's my experience with earthquakes. So I was working in this place in Larsen and Toubro, and we had one of those chairs, like the one in the back. I don't know if you get to see my chair, which is in the back. Yeah, so one of those office chairs, and I kept my feet on top of the wheels. Okay, so my feet was off the ground, and my entire mass was resting on the chair. I was only sitting on the chair, so I could feel a slight shake. And other thing was my water. I had my water bottle in front of me, and the water bottle, you could see some kind of ripples on the surface of the water. So immediately I realized it was an earthquake. So the first thing was, okay, what am I to do? Then I realized that I was in the safest building. Okay, I trusted the design of the structural engineers who had done the construction. We were the best. We are the. I mean, like if I was working, or at least that was my thought. We are the best structural engineers. There's no way this structure is going to collapse. Okay, and if this building is going to collapse, the earthquake is going to be so severe that wherever I run, this I'm still dead. This was my thought. Okay, guys. So now I wish to tell you two things. It is that if you're having a properly engineered building, you're definitely not going to be affected by a natural disaster. Okay, so this is one what I call as confidence, which I had, because we know, okay, we have got the engineering to a science, to the level that we know how a structure is most likely going to behave. So when earthquakes struck, the first thing was, like whether the building is going to fall on you or not. So if you go through YouTube, most of the disasters which they have shown is where a building collapses. Maybe there are even sadder videos where people are inside the building taking and giving a live feed to people outside, and then the building collapses. So we don't know we don't want to contemplate what happens. My message to you, or what I want you to take out of this course, is a properly engineered solution is not going to affect you in the face of a natural disaster. This is the confidence which you should have when you go out of this course. Okay, whatever be the things which you're talking about. Okay, maybe floods can also be controlled, but I'll come to that a little later. So usually what happens is, the earthquakes are something which is very rare, and the Bhuj earthquake which we suffered, it could be that most of you were not even born at that time, because we were reviewing the MTech applications for this year. Most of the people are born in the year 2020. Okay, so when we were in college, that was the biggest what you call as news of the time. Or maybe you would have been born, but you are too young to realize the impact of the same. So one of the reasons why earthquakes fascinated me was also that the uh, very fact that something was there which could not be overcome, and which I wanted to overcome, was out there. So I wanted to become a person who probably could control the effect of an earthquake. So maybe that was one of the compelling reasons that made me look into structural engineering. And also my master's thesis was on how to find the forces generated by earthquakes. Okay, so let us move a little further down. So we know, we are able to see that earthquakes are events which you can control. Now, for my second point, which I wish to make, the first is that you can engineer a solution. The human intervention is what is likely to cause trouble. Okay, suppose there are only trees. Very old trees could fall, but the number of trees which are actually uprooted during an earthquake will not be as much as during a cyclone or any other such occurrences. Okay, especially in plains. I'm not talking about mountainous areas. I'm confining my argument to plains, where most of us are living. Okay, now moving on. If you're looking at, for example, a flood, typically in the wild, flooding is not going to cause any trouble, because water will automatically go to the place where where it is lowest. Okay, so you will be able to see in some of my lectures, my previous lectures, where we were talking about the effect of floods in Chennai. Why is floods occurring in Chennai? The floods is occurring in Chennai because we are constructing in the places where water used to go. It was not that the water comes to your house, but that's how we take it. It is because we are gone to the place where water was most likely going to go. Okay, so if you look at most of the other things, okay, most of the other things, when I say like tsunami, this locust attack, lightning, many of them are not in your control. But the things which we fear more in India, because we have experienced what we call as the earthquake. So we fear earthquake a little bit more. Floods, we have kind of got used to floods. There are certain areas where flooding will always take place, and we also know the places where cyclone takes place in India. So most of the people who are who experience a cyclone, they'll only say that no, this cyclone was more fierce, but we didn't have that much of damage because we kind of got used to it. Okay, maybe still famine, drought, and this locust and some of the other things are not what we have got into control. So we are in this course going to try to see what. So these are the types of natural disasters. So you will usually find that you see whether it is based on climate, whether it's based on geological formations, so on and so forth, and we will be able to study the causes. So once we know the causes, it is very likely that we are not going to what we call as fear them as much, because we know that what is causing the problem and what can be done. Okay, because it's not enough to just understand the causes. Okay, each cause, yes, there's also what we call as an effect. So if there is a cause, there is also an effect. But if I know the effect, I can also see how I can do the prevention. Okay, so this is the good news of what we are doing. So the good news is we can always prevent most of what we are doing. So this is what we are doing also for the COVID. So what we are doing right now, we kind of, since we know the effect, we say go for social distancing. So that is something which we are doing. So other thing is, they say wash your hands. Okay, and they say wash your hands, and most of the things, okay, cover your mouth, and so on and so forth. So there was a good acronym which came with it. Let me just come back. Okay, when it comes back to me, I'll come to this. Okay. Now, the other important thing is, uh, only when we know that a disaster is likely to happen, okay, we are going to be prepared. I'll go back to the example of the earthquake. So the moment the earthquake struck, the office, like, I don't know, many of the people probably did not even feel it, but my boss, I still remember him, Mr. Ravichandran. He came out of his cabin, he really burst out of his cabin and told everybody to vacate the hall in an orderly manner. Okay, so in organizations, we have what are called as systems, safe assembly points. So the leader to whom I report will be saying, okay, John is safe. So if I have people under me, I'll have to say that, okay, 5 people are under me, the 5 people are safe. So when you keep on doing this, okay, you take care of all the people down the line, you come to a point where you say, okay, all the people are safe, all have come out of the buildings. Okay, again, all of you know, in the event of a fire, please do not use the lift, use the staircase. Again, use the fire escape if possible, because the fire escape is in the outside of the building, nothing is going to fall on you. So all of us knew what was to be done. So in fact, I commented to my boss, this building is the safest on earth, or the safest in Chennai. Are you sure you want us to do? Yes, I have to do that, because that is the protocol which the organization has set forth. So you see, like, sometimes, you because we are prepared, we don't panic. We know what has to be done. Okay, there is something happening, bad happening. What am I to do? This is what I have to do. So I will probably what I call as ask you all to take a minute to think of the disaster that you fear the most. It can be it need not be a natural disaster. It could be a simple thing like a fire accident, or maybe a building collapse. You name it. You are fearing something. So the best thing is try to figure out what are you going to do in the event of that emergency. Okay. I will tell you one small incident. I hope that it is helpful to you also. So again, this happened when I was working with L&T, and we were my wife was cooking something in the stove. She was frying something in the oil. The oil caught fire. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question. What would be the thing that you will do? Okay, it's something which can happen in anybody's house. Okay, whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, or anything, this is something which can happen. It happened in our house. Okay, so now oil has caught fire. What will you do? I want somebody. Ritvik has already told his mic is bad. So Ritvik, if you can type out your answer, also it is fine. But I just wish that all of you take a minute to tell me what you're going to do.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, the question is you're at home cooking or somebody is cooking, the frying something in oil, the oil catches fire. What will you do?
To bring the fire extinguisher.
Okay, guys, I don't know how many of your houses has actually a fire extinguisher. Do you have a fire extinguisher in your house, Ayushi?
Yes, sir, we have.
Great. Okay, I will probably give you credit for that. Okay, but many of the houses, our house, do not have a fire extinguisher. Aditya, Ritvik, and Ishan, please don't tell me we don't go into the kitchen. Sorry?
You can call 911.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know, but in Tamil Nadu it is 108, I think, or 100. 911 is only in the US. Okay, so get your emergency number straight.
Sir, we will water.
Okay, Aditya will use water. Ritvik, what will you do?
So we can use some clothes.
Okay, Aditya, you'll use a cloth. Then Ritvik and Ishan, what will you do? Ayushi will use fire extinguisher, which is very good. Okay, keep your fire extinguisher handy so that you know mentally you know where it is and you will definitely do the needful, right? Ishan?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what will you do, Ishan?
Sir, maybe collect some sand for that. Maybe sand is the best use for that to stop the
Okay,
fire of a particular area.
okay, okay. Now you tell me how far is the sand from your kitchen, from your house, your house? How
From
far
my
is?
house actually,
Huh?
just one floor down, there's a garden in my
Okay,
house. So from there I
okay,
can collect.
okay, fine. Sand, taking sand is an option, but again, see, suppose it is feasible. Ritvik, what about you? Come on, yeah, this is a live question, okay? This is something which you could face.
So Ritik has sent a message.
I know. That's why I'm asking him to type out his answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, guys, so the thing is, it so happened that just some time ago, like, you know, maybe a week ago or something, really God's grace that I happened to watch a video on YouTube on how to put out oil fires, kitchen oil fires. So, firemen demonstrated what will happen. So, if suppose you take water and pour it on the fire, okay, the water vapor will what you call as it just turns into steam, and along with it it carries the oil with it and makes the flame even bigger. You could get very badly burnt. all right. And if you remember, oil fires are never put out with water, because if you use too much of water, oil floats on the water and it can even spread more, right? So water is a total no-no for oil fires. So what you do is you wet a towel. Okay, so it was like, I think we used one of the towels we use for wiping the vessels, wet it, okay, and then squeeze the water. If possible, lower the flame of the gas, because you remove what we, or turn off the gas. Okay, it was actually possible for us to do because the flame was much higher. It is frightening. Okay, it is frightening. Then cover the pan with that wet cloth. Now what is happening? The cloth will not readily catch fire because it is already wet. Second is, it covers the pan, preventing oxygen from reaching the fire. Okay, so the fire was put off. This is a real life experience. Okay, now why am I sharing this with you? To be able to, what we call as, face a situation in life, you should have either faced a similar situation, or seen that no seen how it happens. This is what we call as experience. So when we have seen, you tend to learn better. So this is what happens even when you are what we call as preparing yourself to face a natural disasters. So typically, whenever I go, wherever we live, somehow maybe it's because of our training as structural engineers, I will be looking at what are the things that can go wrong. Okay, many times I don't go about telling people, okay, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. But what happens is, if there is a, what we call as, an emergency, I will know what I have to do. Okay, so sometimes I even run worst case scenarios. What if there is a fire? So where are the places which the fire is likely to like be more intense? So these kind of things kind of runs in my mind. So mentally, when something goes wrong, I am ready to go around. I feel that I will be able to tackle a situation. So half of your, what we call as, way to preserve life is to be prepared. In other words, you are mitigating the effect of a tragedy. So this is what we are talking about in the second point over here. Okay, so this is what we are talking about in the second point over here. So we are going to try to see mitigation because of preparedness and how we respond. This is where my example of what I call as how to put out the kitchen fire comes. Okay, the thing is that when I am in a position to know what is to be done, I responded to the situation. Okay, so whenever there is a situation, you will either you can respond, or you can, right, you can respond to the situation in a way by which you save yourself, or you can respond in a manner that you are not going to what we call as do a proper job on that. Okay, so the principles of natural disaster is something which we talk about here. Okay, so in fact I'll be particularly starting off with earthquake. Okay, I'll be particularly starting off with earthquake because that is kind of one of my favorite subjects, or subject which I took up because I wanted to kind of maybe say reduce the loss of life and so many other things. But the sad thing is that to do such a work, I find that I have not really succeeded, for the simple reason that people are not knowing that certain actions of saving, like for example, I am not wanting to make my wall to my columns 300 thick because it doesn't fall flush with my brickwork. This is something which many people do, and many times we have masons and other people who will come and tell us, why do you want to listen to an engineer? We will make it cheaper. They are only going to make the size bigger. Okay, what many of the people don't realize is, when we go through a training, it is because we or looking at like past experiences and why something happened. Okay, so if you look at the Bhuj earthquake, you'll find that the beam column junction was the weakest. People had ignored that place, so the building is intact. Nothing has happened to the building. Only one part, the beam and column place, has become weak. And another very common thing which happened in the Bhuj earthquake was the ground floor was the place where they had the car parking, the stilt parking, which is very common. So the building just sat on the cars. Okay, cars got crushed. That's another story. But the entire building is intact. The building doesn't look like it has got any damage. But instead of being a ground plus 3 stories, it became a 3-story building. First floor, second floor, third floor. Ground floor alone disappeared. So the utility of the building was lost. Okay, that's why when you look at the way Bhuj is there today, they've taken care of all the problems so that they don't face such a loss. Okay, today anything happens in Bhuj, economic activity is not going to stop. Things life will go on. They have spent, they have realized that there was a problem. Okay, so one of the main things, that is why probably I am very much looking into earthquake, educating people about what can be done about earthquake. So also this fourth one is mainly like where when you look at mountainous region, you will be having a few problems, very few problems. So it can be obviously, let me make my pen a little thinner. uh, yes, it's obviously going to be landslides. Okay, then you also have what we call as the chance of flash floods, which are also equally bad. Okay, so of course we will be going through all of these things a little later. And this is one place where I feel that most of the computer science students here should be or could be interested. Okay, lot of this AI has come into the picture. Artificial intelligence has come into the picture in a very big way. Then you have what is called as image processing. This has also come out in a very big way. So these are all skills which I kind of want to capitalize from the computer science students, because we can do wonders just because we are able to like take some images and make some interpretations. Okay, so yeah, moving on. The other one is the use of space technology. So today, for example, all of us are familiar with the GPS. What is GPS? What is GPS? Guys, hello. Ishan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what is GPS?
Sir, GPS is we are using for the tracking some
Correct, correct. But what is the full
area,
form of
whatever.
GPS?
Sir, global positioning system.
Excellent. Okay, so one of the things which I'm also very interested is this was something which probably we civil engineers started to do a lot, is GIS. Okay, so geographic information systems. So you might have studied about MIS, management information systems, and asset management systems, so on and so forth. So here we are having the GIS, which is very, very important. Finally, we also have what is called as a community-based disaster management. So, as I was telling in the morning, we had post the tsunami, we had gone for a survey. Okay, survey to see what was the need. So after 1 week, after 1 week when we went, we saw piles of clothes in the middle of the road. So what was this? People used to stop vehicles which were taking relief material, and then they used to see if they liked something, they'll take it, and then whatever they didn't like, they just dumped it on the road. It was very sad to see. And so this is the way the community responded. The whole village will say, "Arey, people are sending goodies. Let me go and take it." Okay. So today, if you look at if I talk to you, you may feel that it was very animalistic, right? So like a hyena or some vulture People are just taking and not allowing the others to uh, you know probably get a relief. The second thing I observed was we set up wine shops. Okay, because this is Tamil Nadu and I am a Tamilian, I think I can quite very freely talk about my state. We had set up wine shops everywhere, and we had also given compensation to the people. So most of the people spent their money in the wine shop so that they forgot their troubles. So whether it is right or wrong, I leave it to you. Okay, but the money which went to most of the women, it went to feeding the children. Okay, most of the money which went to the men, it went into the wine shop. Okay, so in this class, 5 of us are there. Okay, so 20% is women, 80% of the money could have wound up in the wine shop. Okay, that is the statistics which I am talking about. Okay, so this is a very this was a reality of disaster management. So you can take a call whether it was whether what happened was right or wrong. All that I leave it to you to take a decision. I don't want a discussion on this right now. Okay, so in the pandemic situation also, one of the most important things which people really wanted was wine shops to be opened. Okay, this is a sad thing which happens. Moving on, there was a third kind of people. So we had gone as a survey team. When people saw that we were trying to understand, one person came and started to shout, "My house has to be built first. Whether others' house is built or not, mine has to be made bigger." So this person was saying, "I am affiliated with the ruling party." Okay, whether the ruling party is good or bad, that is another thing. But it is this ground level people to satisfy their ego, they try to do it. Okay, it was very what you call as heart-rending because out of sacrifice, many of the people in the organization which I was working with were trying to rebuild the community. Okay, but this person was placing obstruction. She was saying, "I will go to the collector. I know who all we have to complain to. You have to do this to me before you do anything for others." This was reality which I observed. Okay, and believe me, this is not the government, this is not any of the public servants coming and stopping us from doing our work. It was the society, person in the society who was doing it. There are yet another group of people, they were all sitting in a corner, expressionless. There was no expression on their face. They are they are genuinely shocked. We don't know whether they've eaten, we don't know anything. Okay, and the sad part of the tsunami is so many people would have died, right? And so so the thing is that it is very 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 sad. It's a very sad thing that happens. Okay, so uh, we will probably stop going through all these sad things for a little while. Okay, because I still want to have this course as a course where hope is there. My point to you is that the way community responds plays a very important role in what we call as managing a disaster. Okay, even today, if you see in the pandemic situation, probably Tamil Nadu should not have gone to the community stage. Okay, because see, the thing is that government is saying community stage is not there, but so many other people are. It indicates that the spread is much faster because unfortunately today's newspaper shows Tamil Nadu as the only state where the curve is keeping on rising. Probably I'll just share that with you in a little while. Okay, so friends, the reason is I'm making these points across to you is that the response of the community is very important in what we call as responding to a situation which is unfavorable. Okay, so we will be also seeing a little bit of all of this, and with this as a keynote to the semester ahead, I will take my leave. And if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to address it. So, yeah, do you have any questions to ask me, please? Okay, guys. In that case, we will close this lecture. We will continue probably what I call as move on to the next topic. Like as I was telling you, yes, Ritvik, you have something to share, please.
No, sir, I was traveling to use some ice.
Yeah, great. Actually, your mic is working very well now. Congrats. Friends, okay, so with this, I'm officially stopping this lecture. But moving on, I request you to please go through whatever email I sent. I know it's a little long. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to ask it on the group. And one of the things which I really, what I call as, which I don't like is when people are selfish. Okay, I believe in the concept called Ubuntu, where we try to help each other, and this one. So some of the things which I really don't like is some people come and asking me, sir, if I do this, will I get more marks or this one? Instead of asking specifically, why not let everybody enjoy that? This one. There could be something like very personal which you don't want to share on the group. Yeah, that those things. Yeah, you use your discretion. Suppose you feel that your question is going to give you an edge over others. Okay, don't share it on the as a personal mail. Okay, it should be shared on the group. Suppose you feel that you are at a loss because of others. I mean, you feel others are at a have an upper edge. Please share that on the personal mail, messages. Okay, you are. You please feel free to ask anything, any assistance, whatever I can do. Okay, I'll definitely see you can help you out. Okay, is any of you taking more than one course now? Is NDMM the only course for you, or do you have other courses also?
No, sir,
Only
only
this
the
one.
one person.
Only one
Yes, sir.
course.
I had to take one more course I couldn't take. I'm contacting Dean and HOD regarding that, but I have to take one more.
Is that course being floated?
Sorry, sir.
Is that course floated?
No, okay.
No, is the course being floated? Is the course offered this semester?
Yes, sir. I registered in the website, but it hasn't been registered during the sorry, this special term. So I'm contacting Dean regarding the same.
No,
Because I
it is.
need
It might not be possible to get that specific course. If you are able to choose another course, alternate course, immediately ensure that you do it. You get it?
Sir, I don't have the option to do that. I'm okay with any course. It's you if I can take any course which is available.
Okay.
So I tried contacting Dean, but I couldn't reach them. So I'm still working on it.
Have you spoken to your proctor here?
So I called him, but he didn't pick up. So
Okay, listen.
I contacted the academic coordinator as well of our school.
Okay, okay. Which school? Computer science, huh?
No, sir, Sense, electronics and communication.
Electronics and communication. Okay, okay. See here, 27th is the last date for paying fees. Okay. Whatever happens, make sure that you are trying and pushing across to get your people across, huh? So
Yes, sir.
the two people who can help you are the timetable coordinator and the academic coordinator beside your proctor. Okay. So HOD also you can this one you have sent. Have you sent emails or are you only trying to call?
No, sir, I have sent emails as well as I tried to call.
Yeah, but keep trying because otherwise unnecessarily you'll be losing one semester. Okay.
Yeah.
That is not really an option. Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, if you get another course, do let us know. Okay, because otherwise what we can also sometimes do is make it as a slightly longer session, because the thing is that unfortunately or fortunately my wife is also a teacher, so till now she was sitting in the back, that was her table, and she was to used to conduct classes. So all of a sudden we learned that I am handling this course, so it kind of put a lot of things in a disarray. to be very honest. So I would probably sometimes request you to sit through. I mean, I may need to shift the classes this way or that way, for like, so that we are able to keep the what I call have some sanity here also. So if you're okay with it, we will probably rearrange the classes a little. Is it okay with all of you?
Sure, sir.
Right? And from for me, what I want to see is that you guys take with you some of the principles. Okay, some of the principles of earthquake engineering, especially, and most of the what I call as the stuff for earthquake engineering, I got what I call as what I am happy with the videos which I have put out on YouTube. So I will be sharing specific videos. You can go ahead and watch the videos in advance. You if you that's not something which is wrong, but yeah, the videos will be available for you for most of the topics, and we will try to discuss that in the class. Okay, so that is what we mean by a flipped class, essentially. And yeah, if you have anything else, like if you want me to improve on something, please don't hesitate to tell me. Okay, because I very much believe in what I call as we need to keep on improving more than anything else. So if you tell me, you're actually doing me a big favor, and also probably all your other friends also will benefit. If you feel something is not right, maybe I'm too fast, too slow, maybe my pronunciation is not okay. Because in the morning I realized that after about half an hour of talking, my voice automatically started to come down because I didn't have the kind of energy to talk out. I had not had my breakfast, and I realized it, and I knew that my voice was slowly tapering, like it was coming down. So my thing is that there could be other mistakes which I'm doing in the way I'm presenting, and I really appreciate if suppose you guys can point it out to me. Okay, and if you are finding any what I call as IT, anything in the IT infrastructure which I'm using here inadequate, okay, maybe it is the presentation which is not clear to you or something else, please feel free to tell me. Okay, so many times what happens is in Indian context, see, I'll tell you, friends, I was very honestly sad to see that people were having to address me as respected sir. Okay, it is not wrong. Some people expect it also. You don't know what is it that I expect. Okay, so to be honest, I think respected sir is a little outdated, and it's just that you guys have to, if you feel that I'm worthy of respect, it's in your heart. Okay, so don't just I don't know, I don't know how to put it, but yes, I want people to feel little comfortable in communicating your problems. If there's something wrong with me, please feel free to tell me. Please don't feel that something is going to happen because you tell. Okay, but in your work I expect you to be perfect. Okay, so, and unfortunately this is not somewhere where we are face to face, where a lot of the body language is missing from the students, because from body language and other things we try to deduce certain things about the students. So this is something which I'm really missing in these classes. So anyway, this is the way life is going to go on for some time. I can't help it, neither can you. So friends, thanks a lot for joining, and I'm very sorry I've taken more than 10 minutes of your time. I mean, more than the thing. So we will meet again tomorrow, and I think tomorrow, yeah, please just see the timetable. I'm forgetting the timetable. I don't think it is open right now. So we will be following the timetable. Thank you so much, friends. Bye for now.
Thank you, sir.